Happy Wednesday and welcome to another live video tutorial with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. I am located in Oregon in the USA. Welcome everyone. Hope it was a good week. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find the feed on Facebook so I can see who's on. So I can say hello to everyone. All right. There we are. Okay, go ahead and say hello when you jump on so I'll know you're here. And if you're new, please let me know you're new to the channel so I can give you a little shout out. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Laura. Did you celebrate Everett's, or not Everett's, Henry's birthday? Well, I guess you'll celebrate both at the same time. Hope Henry had a great birthday. Hello, Lynette. Everybody can hear me okay, I hope. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Hello, Mary. So nice to see you on. Okay. Oh, good. We can. Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate that. And as you can tell, tonight we are going to be playing with the Playing in the Rain bundle. That includes the Playing in the Rain stamp set and the Playing in the Rain dies. The stamp set has 10 rubber mount cling stamps and the dies have 15 dies. So we can cut out all of the images in the, well, you can't cut out the raindrops, but we can cut out all the images except for the raindrops in the stamp set, and then we have lots of additional pieces that we'll cut out. This is for making a kite. These two pieces make a kite. You've got one die that cuts 2 butterflies in different positions, and we've got some grass blades and the kite tails, and then we have this cool little fence piece along with this tiny little puddle, which actually is cut out here. All right. Hello, Tracy. Thank you for sharing, Jennifer. The dies will be available. They're supposed to be available this week. Let me check super fast on the inventory. I'll be right back with you. Let me look and see what it says. Bring florets. Let's see. It would appear that those dies are back in stock, Mary. They are no longer on the not orderable list. So from what I can tell, let me do a quick little search here of the Playing in the Rain dies. And we'll see. It is showing them available. So they can be ordered now. All right. Okay. So these dies are available. Hello, Cynthia. Okay. And in addition to that, the little gems that go in the suite as well. These, we're not using these tonight, but these loose daisy embellishments, part of that suite, are available now too. So you can order the entire suite collection. Okay? All right. So let's go ahead and get started tonight. I have a card and another 3D project. The card that I have for you tonight is actually quite simple to put together. So let's go ahead and get that started. Okay, so let's get out the box of things. We have Gray Granite, Mango Melody, and Tahitian Tide for our stamp pads today. I've got a few Stampin' Blends that we're going to be using to color. And I'm using a sentiment from Happy Labels. This you can get with the Happy Labels Pick-a-Punch. And we're just going to be using this little hello. Okay, so we've got that. And then for the designer series paper, we'll be using the Rain or Shine specialty paper. And in addition to that, we're also using the Tea Boutique designer series paper. And we'll be using this pattern to make our kite. And you'll need a small piece of vellum, scrap piece of basic white for cutting and stamping. The vellum is for die cutting some clouds. Okay. You'll need a piece of the designer series paper. Now this is actually a 4x12 and I left it 4x12 because I wanted to show you how I'm going to cut this to get the exact piece that I want for my card front. We have a card base in Old Olive, and this is a standard card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So we can go ahead and burnish on that score line here. And then the next thing we're going to do is pull out our Stampin' Trimmer. Okay, now I want, with this piece, I wanted to get a little bit of the sky with the daisies, but I also want to keep most of this daisy piece intact for an additional card at a later time. So I'm going to take, and first I'm going to cut 3/4 off the bottom, 3/4 of an inch off the bottom of this piece. And that will give me a piece for later. Okay. And then I'll save that for the inside of a card or for something else. And then I'm going to turn this and I'm going to cut this at 5 1/4. And that is going to give me just about what I want. Okay. All right. Got a little bit. Should have probably cut a 1/2 inch. Didn't get quite as many flowers at the bottom as I would like. But that's all right. We're going to make this work. And then we're going to cut this. I'm going from the bottom and I'm measuring 5 1/4 because I don't want to cut those flowers off. And then I'm going to cut this off. And I'll have these pieces for another project. And I still have this with some flowers at the bottom. Okay, so if you would actually cut just a 1/2 inch, then you would be just about perfect for where I wanted to be, but this one will work. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and add this to my card base right now. And I'm going to do that with some Stampin' Seal. Okay. Then to save a little bit of time, I've already stamped and die cut my bunny, and that I did on basic white, and I just stamped him a memento. And when you stamp this bunny, it also stamps the mud puddle, but when you die cut, it just die cuts the bunny. Okay, so let me show you Let's see. I know I had some white pieces right here. Hang on. I want to show you how that works. So let's grab our memento. And with these, I like to take my stamp pad to my stamp. And so when you do this, it stamps out, it stamps the bunny in the mud puddle. And then when you die cut this, you get this. Okay? So we've got our bunny. Out of this same piece of white, then you want to take the kite when you run this through and run through the kite. And I've already done that right here. So let's go ahead and put those back. Okay, and then out of this Tahitian tied polka dot, you want to cut one of the kite strings and then this kite piece here and run that through the die cut machine. And at the same time, run a piece of vellum and use the cloud dies right here. You only need one, but you'll cut all three. And then we'll have the pieces that we need to put our card together. Okay, so we've got all those. All right, let's set that aside. And let's go ahead and put our kite together and we'll color our bunny. So for our bunny, I'm going to bring in some scrap paper. And I'm going to use my gray granite Stampin' Blends, and I'm going to start with the light gray granite. Well, actually, take that back. I'm going to start with the SU 1000. This is part of the Light Natural Tones combo pack. And I am just going to color his nose, a little bit in the ears here. And then I thought it would be cute if I gave him just a little bit of a cheek here and a little bit over there with my SU 1000, okay? Then I'm going to take my light gray granite and I'm going to color in my bunny here. Like so. Okay. We'll just color this up. I like to try and avoid the memento, especially with my lighter colors. I do find that occasionally if you don't let that memento dry completely, it will pick up and smear the ink. So I try to avoid it if I can. So I'm going to get into his hands here. And then I'm going to go down underneath the jacket. Okay. And then I'm going to take my dark gray granite and right here along the jacket top and the front here and the collar and down here at the base. I just want to put in a little bit of dark and right there at the hands where there would be a shadow from the jacket. And then I'm going to go back and I'm just going to blend that out just a bit. Okay, and I'm happy with that, so we're going to call that good. Okay, And then for his jacket, I did, what did I do? I think I did dark so saffron. And I colored the jacket with the dark so saffron. Now, if you have Mango Melody Stampin' Blends that are retired, go ahead and use those. I thought I would take the dark so saffron and then the dark pale papaya. And I'm just going to color the dark pale papaya right over the top of the dark saffron. Mix those two colors up. I tried it with the Daffodil Delight and I didn't like, it was a little bit less bright than I wanted it to be. So those are the colors that I chose to use. And that's what it looks like. Okay, so we've got our little bunny. Now while we have this out, we're going to take one of the large clouds. And I'm going to take some Wink of Stella. Oh, wait a minute. Before I do that, hang on. Hold the farm here. I want to take this and I'm going to heat emboss this with the Tahitian Tide. Let me get that out. And our embossing tray here. I've got the Embossing Additions tray that's in the new mini. And I'm going to use my embossing buddy on my cloud. I'm going to get my clear powder ready. And I'm going to take the Hello from the Happy Labels. I'm going to ink that up in, I almost said Tempting Turquoise, Tahitian Tide. And I'm going to stamp the Hello on that. Hang on, I got to get this off of here so I can see. White, the clear on the white doesn't allow me to see the edges. Okay, so then I'm going to stamp my Hello. We'll let that sit for a second. Let that all transfer. I'm going to take my reverse tweezers from the kit and I'm going to put clear embossing powder on my ink. Make sure that adhered well. And we'll set that aside. And I'm going to take my heat tool. I'm going to close up my ink pad first. And I'm going to put it on high setting and I'm going to heat that up for a minute. Get it nice and hot. And then I'm going to heat set my clear embossing powder. Okay. I think I still have a little tiny bit of the H. There we go. All right. So now we have our sentiment ready. And we can set that aside. Let that cool off for just a second. Put my embossing powder away so I don't spill it. And then we're going to take the kite. And this kite goes, you take this, there's a shorter edge and a longer edge. And the longer edge goes at the bottom. So I'm just going to take and flip this over. I'm going to take a little bit of Tombow glue. And I'm going to add that to my kite. Okay. Now, if you got the February paper pumpkin, in that kit, you would have gotten this stamp set. You would have received this one, and it has the little kite that you could actually stamp. And let's see, I did that ahead of time so that you could see it. Let's see where I put it, right here. So if you wanted and you had that kit, this is what that kite would look like if you stamped it. Okay? All right, so we've got that. Now to this, I'm going to grab my silicone mat. And I'm going to take those 3 little kite ties. I'm going to turn these over. And I'm going to use my fine tip glue bottle with my Tombow glue. And I'm going to put just the tiniest dab right in the center. Well, I left it open and it got a glue. Okay, come on. There we go. Just a tiny bit is all I want. Right in the center. Okay. And then I'm going to take these and I'm going to add them to my kite string. Just like this. Okay. Now this is ready to be added to our card. So let's go ahead and get our sentiment. And we're going to take our Wink of Stella and we are going to go all over this cloud to give it a little bit of sparkle. And set that aside to dry, because that will take a minute. We're going to bring back in our card base, take our kite and our bunny, and we're going to add some Stampin' Dimensionals to our pieces here. Now I'm down to the bones. So I'm going to put some of these outer pieces on my bunny here. Like so. And I'm going to add him to my card. And I'm going to put him down here right at the bottom so he looks like he's dancing in those flowers. About like so. And then I'm going to take my kite, and that's going to be too big. What about this one? That one looks like it'll work really well. And then we'll take our kite. I'm not worried about the kite string because I'm going to secure that behind the bunny's hand. Like so. And what I discovered when I did this was not only does it look like my bunny is holding my kite, but my kite string actually pops up and gives me dimension without fussing with those dimensionals. Now I'm going to take my sentiment here, and again I'm going to take my fine tip glue, because we all know if you don't hide your glue on vellum, it will show. So I'm going to take my fine tip glue here, and I am going to very carefully hide my glue behind my sentiment. I'm going to give that just a minute to dry there, because if I let it dry a little bit, then it won't squish out as easily because it will be semi-hard. In the meantime, let's go ahead and take a look at the inside of our card. Let me find what I did with that. So for the inside of our card, I took from the paper pumpkin stamp set that came last month. Oh, what did I do with that stamp? Right here. I took and stamped the little sunshine stamp in the corner, used one of the sentiments, wishing you sunshine and smiles. Then the flowers here at the bottom are from the Playing in the Rain stamp set, and I stamped, colored, and die cut out the turtle for the inside of my card. No reason why the party should stop once you open the card. So we're going to go ahead and add that to the inside. This is a 2 3/4 by 4 1/4 piece of basic white cardstock, which works great if you don't want to write a lot of stuff on the inside. So there is our card. Now, I don't know if you can see it or not, but the glue on this has pretty much dried. So now I don't have to worry about it squirting. And I can take and stick this hello on that cloud right up here in the sky. And it adds a little bit more dimension with the cloud, and it has our sentiment without slapping you in the face. Okay? For the envelope, I just stamped those flowers and then used the pale papaya and old olive Stampin' Blend to color in the leaves and the centers of the flowers. All right, so there is project number 1. All right, let's get this put away and we'll go to our 3D project. Put all these things away, get them out of our way. All right. Using that designer series paper, you could get, with the blue sky and the flowers on that piece, you get 2 full sheets of that, so you should be able to get 6 cards from that pack using the sky and the flowers. And then you could just use this other piece and have a little bit of sky this way too. Okay? Depending on how you cut your paper. Okay? So then you could get 12. All right. Let's set this aside because I actually did use this stamp set again on my other projects. Do not discount. I really like when Stampin' Up coordinates the paper pumpkins with the suite of products that you can get. And just so you can see, this was the Stampin' or the paper pumpkin for this month, and these are the cards. It's an all-inclusive kit. These were the 3 cards that it made. So we had this one, Friends in Any Kind of Weather, You Brighten My Day, and Wishing You Sunshine and Smiles. And this particular kit made 9 cards, 3 each of 3 designs. You got the cards, the matching envelopes. Of course, you get the exclusive stamp set. And they had a die for the first time ever, an add-on of dies so that you could cut out the frog and the flowers from the stamp set. So, pretty cool. Those coordinated beautifully with the Playing in the Rain suite. Okay, let's move on. Get rid of those. We don't need those. We will need those. And let's set these aside. All right, here we go. Project number 2. This is the project. So this box is a reinforced slider box, and it holds a Turtles candy bar. Where did I pick these? I picked these up at Winco, but I know you can also get them at the dollar in a $1.25 store. All right, so here we go. Let's get started on that. So for this, you're going to need a piece of basic white to stamp and die cut your images. And you are going to need the turtle, the flowers, and you need this little frog, and you need the clouds. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll stamp all of these. Ooh, might not be able to get all of these on this particular. Might need an extra. Okay, we'll stamp our turtle. Oh, wait a minute, we're not stamping our turtle. Oh, never mind. I took the turtle from the Designer Series paper. We don't need to stamp him. We just need to stamp these pieces. And our sentiment, which is, you brighten my day, and I'm going to take that from this stamp set, the paper pumpkin one, but you could find whatever you have already. You could do Oh Happy Day, which is in the Rain or Shine bundle, and we're just going to stamp this down here. Okay, so that is that. The turtle gets cut from the Designer Series paper, and I've already done that. Okay. You also need to stamp on a small piece of basic white strip. You need to stamp the grass stamp that comes in this. Oh, where did I get the grass? Wait a minute, hang on. The grass doesn't come from there. The grass comes from, where did I get that? Oh, from the Easter Bunny stamp set. Okay, so you could find a stamp set that you have. I used this one from the Easter Bunny stamp set. And I stamped all along the edge of that white piece. And then I colored it in. I stamped in Garden Green, and then I colored it in Old Olive. So I've got this strip, and then I fussy cut the top. Of course, you don't have to do that. You could, if you have the, what are the dies? I just used them the other day. There is a set of dies that has a grass in the bottom of it. And I can't think of what it is at the moment. But if you have a die with grass dies, you could use that. Let me, which one was it? I know. Is it the Happier Than Happy? Let me look. Nope. Oh, this Birthday Piggy. If you have those dies, there's a grass die in there that you could use as well, and you could just cut it with some colored cardstock. Okay, and I believe these Birthday Piggy dies are still on the clearance rack. So go check that out if you don't have them, because they're pretty inexpensive. And this Birthday Piggy stamp set is still available in the annual catalog. Okay, so we're going to color these in Balmy Blue. We're going to color our frog in dark and light Old Olive. And then I took the color lifter and lifted his stomach so that the stomach was a lot lighter than the rest of him. I colored the centers of the flowers in. I actually used my Mango Melody Stampin' Blend, but you could use the Dark Pale Papaya if you don't have those retired blends. And then I cut those all out. With the coordinating dies. I did that ahead of time to save us some time. You'll need a piece of the Designer Series paper. This was cut with the Something Fancy dies, the Sentiment. And there's all of our die pieces, okay? So we've got all those. Cut that right out of the Designer Series paper. Here's the piece. I just fussy cut around it so that I could get the turtle without destroying whole sheets of the paper. Okay, and then we've got some Mango Melody cardstock. All right, so let me get these stamps out of the way so I don't get ink all over everything. All right. Get that out of the way. Here's our pieces. Throw these up here so they don't disappear. All right, and then we're going to start with a piece of Mango Melody cardstock. I wanted you to see the difference between having a white base. My original sample I did in thick basic white. So this one I'm going to do in Mango Melody. And this piece of cardstock is 4 and 15, 6, right? No, this is the wrap. This is 6 by 6 and 13/16. Okay? And if you cut your cardstock that way, then your wrap will fit your box better. Okay? Trust me. So we are going to put this on the 6-inch side, the 6 inches at the top. And we're going to score this at 3/4, 2 3/4, 3 1/2, and 5 1/2. Okay, and that's all we have right there. For our other piece of cardstock in Mango Melody, this is 4 and 15/16, okay, by 9 3/4. And we're going to score this on all 4 sides at 3/4 and 1 1/2. I'm just going to keep rotating. 3/4, 1 1/2. 3/4, 1 1/2, 3/4, 1 1/2. All right. That is all of our scoring. Let's go ahead and fold and burnish on all of our score lines. All right, while we're burnishing our score lines, we're going to go ahead and do the top. Burnish those. All right. So this is our glue tab on our top. You've got this 3/4 inch piece, and then you have this 1/2 inch piece. And we're going to take our scissors and we're just going to snip that a little bit on the diagonal, just so that folds nicely into the box. Okay. Then we're going to take this, and on the outside of our box top, we're going to take our tear and tape, and we're going to run a strip of tear and tape right along the score line. Okay, and you want to get it, you don't want it to go over the score line, but you want it close to the score line. And the reason that you want it right next to the score line is so that you don't have a gap where it comes together. If you put your tape out here and you have this blank, then you're going to have a gap when it comes together. So I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool and remove my backing. I'm going to fold with this sticky side here. I'm going to fold on the second score line from the right. I'm just going to fold that down. And on the first score line from the left, I'm just going to fold that right over the top. Okay. Now this becomes the bottom of the box slider, and this becomes the top, and this is the piece that we'll decorate. Okay. Still will be easy to decorate because we can just lay this flat. We can add our designer series paper, and this designer series paper is cut at 1 7/8 by 6 5/8. So we're going to go ahead and add that to our box right now. And again, this is from the Playing in the Rain, what is it? Rain or Shine DS Specialty Designer Series paper. So I'm just going to lay this right down here and center it as best I can. Then I'm going to take this piece of the grass and I'm going to add this along the bottom of that designer series paper. And remember, with Tombow glue, if you can see it, it's enough. You don't need a ton. Okay? So we're just going to take that and lay this right along this edge. This piece of basic white is about 6 1/2, 6 3/4 inches. What did I say my DSP was? 6 5/8, so 6 1/2. Okay? Or 6 3/8 would probably be plenty. All right, so we've got that. Now we're going to take that turtle. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and decorate my box top while I'm at it. I'm going to get some more Stampin' Dimensionals. Make sure that doesn't stick out. And yep, I've got that where I need it to be. Okay. You want to make sure this back area of your turtle doesn't have any Stampin' Dimensionals on it, because you're going to tuck your clouds down behind that. Okay, so let's put this right here so it looks like he's standing in the grass. All right. Take our clouds Uh-oh. Oh, here it is. They're running away, my clouds. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to take my large cloud. I'm going to set this over here. And let me close up my glue here before I can't use it. I'm going to take some Stampin' Seal. I'm going to put my large cloud over here. Take my frog. I'm going to pop him up on some Stampin' Dimensionals. He's not very big, so I'm just going to take a small piece here. Set my frog about over here, like so. Get my flowers. I'm going to put these down with some Stampin' Seal. Between the frog and the turtle, so it looks like he just picked that daisy. And then we're going to take our other two clouds, and again I'm going to tuck this one right down here like so. Okay, so now the last things that we need to add to this are our sentiment, which we're going to pop up on dimensionals. This will be hand delivered, of course, so I can use quite a bit of dimensional. Let's see, that's just a little bit too large. Cut that like so. Okay, I'm glad you guys are locking the projects. All right, so then we're just going to take this, set this up here like this. All right, and then I have the adhesive back Milky Dots. These have been discontinued, so if you did not get them, you can find another embellishment. I'm going to take one and put it in the center of the flower that the turtle's holding. I'm going to take another small one and put in the center of the large flower here. And then I'm going to take a larger one and let's put this right here. Okay. So there is our box decorated. Now let's go ahead and finish the box bottom. And then we'll put that all together. So for the box bottom now, remember this is a piece of Mango Melody that we had at 4 15/16 by 9 3/4, scored on all four sides at 3/4 and 1 1/2. I'm going to take on the long side. I'm going to go to the second score line from the right here. I'm going to cut up on the inside of the large triangle. I'm going to cut up on the first score line. And then I'm going to turn it and cut off those two outer squares. Just like that. And then I'm going to cut off this small square from that section there. And angle cut these. And I'm going to do that on all four corners. So I'm going to turn this around, and again I'm going to come to the second score line, cut to the inside of the rectangle. And I'm going to cut up on that first score line, cut the second score line and remove those two squares. And then I'm going to remove this outer square and angle cut on both sides of that tab. Okay, and we're going to repeat it on the other end. Second score line inside the large triangle, first score line, rotate, second score line, cut off those 2 squares, remove the outside square, angle cut the tab on both sides, rotate, and repeat inside to the large rectangle, cut the first score line, rotate, cut to the second score line, remove those 2 squares, cut on the first score line on the small rectangle, make that into a square, angle cut, angle cut. Okay, and then on these 2 long tabs, both sides, I'm going to angle cut on this first section only. I'm just going to angle cut a little bit like that down to the first score line. I'm going to repeat this on the left side, flip it 180, do a tiny little angle cut to the first score line, repeat it on the opposite side to the first score line, and that is our box bottom. What I like about these types of box bottoms is they're reinforced, so they'll hold a pretty heavy little item. So now we need to take our tear and tape, and we're going to put tear and tape on all 4 of the outside rectangles. Okay, and we're going to do that on the inside of the box along the edge. This time we are not going to the score line. Okay, so we're just going to, on the outside edge, on all 4 rectangles, outside rectangles. Okay. So we've got those. All right. So I'm going to give those a good burnish. I like to use my bone folder to do that. That will help that tape adhere to the paper, giving us a better seal. Then we're going to take our Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to start on these 2 short rectangles. I'm going to remove the backing here, and I'm simply going to fold this in and give it a good press. Okay? And then I'm going to repeat that on the opposite end and give it a good press. Now those are reinforced. Okay, so for my long pieces now, I'm going to go ahead and remove my tear and tape here. On these 2 pieces. I'm going to fold these tabs in, and while I'm holding them, I'm going to bring up that one side. My tear and tape's already exposed, so I'm just going to fold that over, give it a good press, burnish that down well with my bone folder, flip it around to the other side. I'm going to hold in those sides again, bring that up, square that box up, and press that side in on the inside. And I didn't have to glue those little tabs. They're secured inside the box bottom with the tear and tape already. Okay, so now our box bottom is done. We've got our Turtles candy bar, which fits in there perfectly. And then we're just going to take our box bottom and slide it into our box. So now you can see what the box looks like if you do the whole box in Mango Melody versus the white you do whatever. If you use Mango Melody for both pieces, it'll take you more than a sheet of cardstock of the Mango Melody. If you do it this way, then you can get more out of your paper. Okay, so we've got those, and those are finished. All right, so those are the two projects that I'm making for you today, but don't go. I have a couple of things to show you if you're interested. We'll set these over here. I received, oh, wait a minute before we go on any further. Oh, I'm so glad you guys like that. Here is another 3D project that I made using the Playing in the Rain suite, or the Rain or Shine suite, whatever they call it. Rain or Shine, I think, is the suite collection. And this, I took and made the box. Again, Mango Melody. I used the Designer Series paper, front and back, and I cut out a fox from the Designer Series paper, used vellum and Wink of Stella again for the mud puddle and a couple of clouds. This is the black and white gingham ribbon, and this little thank you tag comes from the mini pocket dies. Okay, so there is another little project for inspiration. And then we have, where did I put those? Okay, so I picked up the basic 3D embossing folders from the online exclusives, and they came, and I wanted to show you, I embossed them so you could see what those three basic embossing folders do. They're all 3D, so you get one that has dots, one that has cross hatches, and then this one is a starfish or a flower. So you could use it however. Okay, so there are those, and I wanted to show you what those look like when they are embossed. The other thing that I wanted to show you is the Radiating Stitches dies. These are also in the online exclusives. So you get 6 dies, 3 nesting rectangles, then you get 2 nesting circles and a heart. And when you cut these, you get, hang on, this is what you get when you just cut them, okay, on a piece of cardstock. So you get, it cuts the rectangle out, and then it cuts all these little stitches radiating out from the edges, and you get one this size and one this size. But the cool thing about these are, because they nest so well together, if you nest these 2 dies together, you get this. So then you have the hole cut out. Okay. If you have the 3 together, like so, and I just take a piece of Post-it tape and hold them in like that, then you would get this and this piece, and then you would get this piece. So you can get them so that you can get just frames by nesting them and cutting. And then this one, of course, just you can't get a frame. Okay? So I did want to show you those. I didn't cut the circles or the heart, but I did want to show you how cool those rectangles are, just so you will have an idea of the possibilities of those radiating dies. All right, everybody, I want to let you know I will not, repeat, not be here next Wednesday night, because I will be attending a band and choir concert at the high school, and so I will not be live. All right? Okay. So I will see everybody again in 2 weeks, and my plan is to do Taco Fiesta. All right? Have a great 2 weeks, everybody, and I will see you again on the Wednesday night, 2 weeks from now, same time. Good night.